All right. I hope everybody is doing fine. The old students seems to be doing okay. You are more used to the rhythm already, okay? For the past few, I mean, you for the past few months, you have done something a lot more intensive than what we have this semester, isn't it? Like last semester, you've got so many subjects and all that, and this semester, I think this morning you only start coming to classes at 10 o'clock. And for those people who are the new people fall, you started class at 8 a.m. until now. So I think, how are you guys? Are you guys like okay?
Okay, Doctor.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I hope you are all picking up with the rhythm, especially the new people. You will feel a bit more intense in that sense, because you've got to do research methodology, and some of you are starting your RP1. And for those of you who are not doing RP2, remember to go back to your supervisor to actually look for them to actually start your to clean up your chapter 1 and 2 and finish up your chapter 3 before you go to RP2 next semester. It is a must. Don't wait until end of the semester, then you go and kalang kabut saying that you haven't done much, and then RP2 is another problem later, okay? So this is a breathing space for those of you who are not taking RP2. For those of you who are taking RP2, it is also very, very tough as well, because you're going to do data collection. So those of you who are doing RP2, I assume that every one of you who are ready to do RP2 are actually ready with data collection at this point in time, okay? Because you only have 12 weeks, and I will actually post up that the oral presentation will be around the 6th of February. At first, it was set on the 3rd of February because that was Hari Raya first day. So I think that it would be very mean for us to do that, okay? We will do it on the 6th of February, which is a Friday, and then the exam will start on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. And then you're gonna hand in your RP2 and RP1 report on the 11th of May. Okay, that is all the deadlines that we're gonna have, because that's the best that I can work out now for now, because we need to jana you, meaning that the result needs to come out. The result needs to be finalized before the 18th, okay? And we still need to go for marks meeting, and any one of you who fell may need to do re-examination on the 14th and 15th, okay? So that time is a bit short in that sense. So bear those dates in mind, and those people who want to drop any subject without any penalty, it has to be this coming Friday. If you don't drop it by this Friday, next 2 weeks you still can drop, but with a penalty of 200 ringgit. Okay, so I don't foresee anyone thinking about dropping. Maybe some of you want to drop RP1, some of you may want to drop RP2, but I think all the core subject is all day. I think everybody is going to be comfortably taking the core subjects. So just be reminded on the Friday will be the last day to drop, okay? And I think all the courses should be ready on eLeap. So all of you should go up to eLeap and put your name into the different courses, except for 6163. I think there is a mistake there by our IT department. They put it as SAM 1. So I need to email them tomorrow and change it to SAM 2, okay? But it's okay, you just register yourself in that particular course eLeap registration, and be reminded that eLeap registration is different from your normal SMP registration. I have a student from my another course program. They dropped eLeap. They want to drop subject, but they dropped eLeap. They didn't go and drop the SMP, the one that you register yourself at the beginning of the semester. And then end up, she failed every subject because she actually did not attend all the classes. She was planning to drop everything. She didn't go and drop it properly. So this is something that we also learned the lesson when we say drop. Some students don't know what they're thinking. They drop eLeap, they don't drop the SMP. So a lot of us are thinking like they know what to do because SMP is where you do registration of the course. eLearn is just a teaching and learning platform. Okay, so where you download the notes, pass in your assignment and all that. That has nothing to do with the official system of getting your degree and registration for course, dropping for courses. You have to do it where you actually do your course registration the other day. Okay, so this is some simple housekeeping reminder for everybody here. Some of you are over already. You should know what to do. But if you're not sure, I'm here for you to ask questions. And also sometimes questions can be asked in a group because a lot of you sometimes like to straight away come to ask me questions because I am a lecturer, so I hardly know what to do when it comes to what happened on the student platform, you see. So if you put it on the student platform, your friend may know what to do faster than me. I may have to go and find out, and then come back to you maybe 1 or 2 days later, whereby your friend, they have already done it so many times before, they know what to do, they're more IT savvy and all that. They may have an answer for you. So posting things in a group may be faster for you to get the answer from your classmates, okay? So now this semester we have 14. For all the core courses, I think all the 14 of you are registering. And the group assignment, you don't have to just stick to your own sets intake. You can cross intake. Like for example, some of you have friends you join in October, some of you have friends in February. So you can join your friends with your friends to do assignments. And basically if let's say the courses are taking like group assignment of 2 to 3, so if 2, then you have 7 groups. But if there's 3, 1 or 2 groups may have only got 2 people. So it's okay to have 2, so it's always the lecturer says 3 or 4 or 3 or 4. If you have 2, it's okay, like lesser is okay. You cannot be more than that number that they have allocated. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay. So any questions on the usual housekeeping things? I heard from Dr. Leonard this morning that in his class, the new people cannot do QR code, is it? But I see that you can do QR code in my class then. Marsha Johnson, Zoo, this morning you have problem with Dr. Leonard's class in trying to get the QR code, is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Has it been sorted? Sorry?
Problem with Dr. Leonard only, Doctor.
Oh, okay. Oh, with Dr. Leonard only. So with the 6092, is it?
Yeah.
Yesterday, can he do QR with the all of you?
Yes, can.
And I think it's that subject, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe something to do with the registration. Okay, that's another problem I have to sort out tomorrow morning then. Okay, but meanwhile, can you all just pass him your student number and then see, let him keep a record of your attendance, huh? His number is also in the group, all the lecturers' number that are teaching you are also in the group. Maybe you don't know which one, that's all. If you can post it, or some of you can post it to me, then I can forward it to him, Either way, Or later on, I create a WhatsApp note that says that whoever can call in for 6092, please put your name and student number here, and I will forward it to him, Okay. Right, so no problem with my class, no problem with Dr. Linda's class. It's 6092. Okay, can. Okay, so let's get started with our project management class. Okay. Okay, basically, I'm taking you, me and Dr. Lee, the two of us are taking you for this 6083. Okay, the code here is 6083. Okay, civil engineering project management. This is going to be a class that either you really like it and score good marks, or you don't like it, because there's just too many things to read and remember, and you just don't have that kind of feel for it. I mean, I'm not surprised. Not everybody wants to be a project manager. Not everybody wants, really like to handle, some like management of a project, But some of you are quite, you feel that it's quite relevant. Some of you just likes to do structure. They like to do calculation. They don't like to do reading. So these are some of the things with project management. Okay, and basically, what we're going to have is to make sure that, actually for me, project management, you all are working people. Most of you are either like, in not really so fresh kind of graduates. Some of you are working for a long time already. To some extent, every one of you have managed one or two projects, by now, you see. So in fact, a lot of these things here, the knowledge that you have, you've already learned it in your undergraduate studies. And also, you have experienced it on site. And, things like time scheduling, quality management, cost management, all these things you've learned it before, and then you've done it before. So actually what I'm going to give you here, for me, is nothing so new, nothing so spectacular, nothing so amazing that, you've never heard of it before. Maybe one or two things you haven't heard of it before, because it's not really in your area, for example. But most of the things you've heard of it before, you've done it before, you've touched it before. So it is nothing special in that sense. But what we're trying to get here for mastery of a course, like as a master's graduate, is a lot to do with application. So we would like you to be able to apply the skills and knowledge of project management into the real project. So if you have project that you are running at the moment, and then you actually face some issues, with certain things, you feel free to bring it up, and we can do discussions that can be part of the case studies as well, you see. And we want you to actually learn to understand that, on site, that everything is actually ecosystems that you have to run it together. You have to bring balance to everything. It's not about, you worry about time, then you forget about cost. You worry about cost management, or you worry about the work progress on site, but you forgot about procurement, or you forgot about contract, So these are basically what we're trying to do, is to help you to balance, to understand that balance. That every project manager, your job is not to make somebody lose money and make yourself win, or make the client do well, but the contractor don't do well, or you make the contractor do so well, the client is at the losing side. It's not like that. It's about a balance. It's about trying to, your job, that professionalism is about balancing the whole project, so that everything goes well, everything are working towards the successful delivery of the project at the end of the day. Okay, and you also have to be considering matters like risk, environment, safety, contracts. These are all parts and parcels of running a project, managing a project. So in a way, we really want you to be able to apply, to come up with a good plan, and to execute those plans, and run the project, manage the project, carry it out professionally, and also to make it a sound delivery, a very good delivery in terms of time, cost, quality, and then also to fulfill all the stakeholders' requirements. So that will be what we call a successful project manager, basically. Okay, and basically we have got this topic here that we're going to be covering with you all. So today I'm going to be covering with you all on some of the typical terms that you will see in project management, which I think some of you will find really boring because you've seen it so many times, but we will still cover a little bit. And I will also want to go on to do a bit of scope management with you if I can, and also to brief you on this course, what is this all about, and why is it important that we do project management. And then next week I will be coming back to you to do cost scope management, which is on WBS, like going in to do scope planning, scope definition, change control, and all that. So this one here will actually be the very beginning of your course, whereby you will need to produce what we call a WBS, and this WBS you'll be using it for all the assignment and project later on. So the WBS is the backbone, work breakdown structure is the backbone of all projects. You need to define the work that is going to go into the project and to as much detail as you can so that you don't miss out on anything. And time management, quality management, risk management, safety management, risk management, procurement management, everything will be based on WBS. It will be based on the scope of work that is created for the project. Okay, so this is the very essential, very important part of the whole entire project management course actually. And then once we've done that, the following week, I will give you some recordings on life cycle costing and value engineering, because when you define scope of work, when you define the scope of work, it is not perfect yet. It is not the best yet. There are many things that you need to do to streamline it. Have you ever thought about the maintenance, the operation cost of your design? Have you ever thought about the maintenance and operation cost of the whole facilities that you're going to be building, and or the whole facilities that you as a client is going to be committing yourself into? If you're building a shopping mall, you're building an apartment, have you ever thought about LCC, life cycle costing? So these are very critical, essential things that a lot of us, when we invest into projects, especially if you're working for developers and also for even government agency, when you are actually coming up with the scope of work, you do not think about the consequences of operation and also maintenance. And then this can be like for years, maintenance can be like talking about for 15, 20 years, even, and 30 years, even sort of things. And also when we're doing our scope of work design, the scope design, have you ever thought about value engineering? Is this project really has the value? Is it really optimized? Is it really like the best price for that quality, or the best quality for that price kind of thing? So you need to think about how to actually streamline, your project. Some parts may not be necessary, but through exercises like VE and LCC, you may want to take it out, and that will save costs, you see. And you may want to improve certain performance, you want to buy better machine or better materials, but that will give you a higher performance. And if you look into the value of it, it's going to be a lot higher compared to what you will be getting if you're going to go for the original designs. So this is about scope management as well. And we do it during scope design. We don't want to do it during construction. What's the point of doing value engineering at construction stage? What is the point of doing value engineering when this is at the consultant's hand and you ask the consultant to study value engineering for your project? They are going to go like, every consultant fees is based on percentage of the construction cost. The bigger you build, the more money a consultant will have. So why would anybody in the right mind want less profit? So when you ask a consultant to do detailed design, to come up with the design of your scope of work, you want them to think about optimization. I mean, come on. I mean, we are not saints, like we talk about professionalism. They should be doing it, but why would anybody want to do that, you see? So we should do this as early as possible. Life cycle costing should be thought of as early as possible. Value engineering should be thought of as early as possible, at the earliest stages of scope definition, scope planning, scope definition. When you come up with the scope statement, when you come up with the option studies, we should be thinking about this LCC and VE at that point in time already. And then moving in when the consultant get the statement or the preliminary design statement, they can do the design accordingly, you see. So you don't depend on that stage, those people to do those things for you, unless you have a separate in-house. You can do that at that stage, yes. the detailed design is not too late. If you have your own in-house engineer to look after the VE part while the consultant do the design, then you can work together to optimize the design. Then that is possible, okay? But you cannot leave the job to, especially like government agencies, they like to leave the job to the designated consultant, and it doesn't work very well that way. So we're going to go through that with scope management. And then later on, I thought about, I spoke to Dr. Lee and I told her that, I really want to incorporate in engineering economics because, especially some people were working for developers, and also government agency, client agency. A lot of you are actually involved in planning of the project, involved in selecting options, involving in seeing which are the best outcome for the project. So I think engineering economics with the studies of LCC, with the study of MPV, VCR, economic analysis and all that is going to be very helpful. So in fact, if you look at the official cost plan, if I'm going to post on the official cost plan, these 3 weeks, week LU 234 is going to be totally about scope management, okay? But it's going to be very long for scope management. So I actually took the privilege of changing the detail for the general scope management into economic studies for this particular week LU. So it's going to be a bit more relevant, I feel, for you all to understand how do you study MPV, how to actually calculate the formula, how to calculate ROI, and all that. It is true that, sometimes all these things are left to the financial executive of the company to do it, but I think as an engineer, you should know how to read the numbers as well. So it is fair for you to be able to see that whether they're doing the right thing, the calculation is actually correct or not, and the outcome because the outcome is going to affect the option that you choose, to whether you're going to build all houses or whether you're going to build commercial plus houses or whether you're going to build shopping mall or whether you're going to build 4 lanes or whether you want to build 2 lanes now and 4 lanes later, or whether you're going to build a highway with three routes, or 4 routes. These are all the you need to do this study carefully before you actually embark onto finalizing the final scope of work. So this is actually what we call economically rational decision. Okay, and yeah, it is important to actually get that out of the way to understand that. Okay, then LU5, this is just the normal course syllabus. Okay, so I will but team management and also communication management will come in the last 2 LU, the last 3 LUs, okay? So after scope management, we will go straight to time management by Dr. Lee. So Dr. Lee will take you for, she will take you for this LCC, she will take you for this economic studies first, and then she will go on and give you on time management, resources planning, time management, how to plan for your resources, how to line up your resources, how to use production rate, calculation of production rate, flowing into calculating the duration. From the duration, you run it through with critical path analysis. With critical path analysis, going in and talk about using of Microsoft projects. So this 2 weeks is going to show you all these things and including Microsoft project. So you're going to get an assignment here. So in week LU5, you will get an assignment from Dr. Lee. It's going to be a single assignment, I think. Yeah, it's not a group assignment. It's a single assignment. So every one of you will have to do a time, a schedule of some sort. So she will brief you guys on this. Okay, but this schedule work breakdown will be done with me, and then from the work breakdown, we will use that work breakdown and you start to do the exercise here. And this exercise, she will guide you and hopefully you will hand it in as soon as possible. Then if there's any problem, we still can get you to rectify because all the marks matters, So this is going to be 20% of your individual assignments that you're going to get from Dr. Lee. And we will get you to hand it in a bit earlier so that, if there's any problem, we can actually get you to redo it as early as possible. Okay. And then I will come back and take you for cost management. She will take you for quality management. Then after that, I will come back in and give you something on risk management, followed by procurement management. So procurement management is going to be done by myself, which we talk about procurement strategy, contracting type, and also contract document and procedures for tendering and all that. So that will be 2 weeks, follow risk, and then followed by these two, and then she will finish up team management, communication management, and integration. So that will be the 14 LUs that we have. And your group assignment will be done by me. There'll be 30%. It will be based on risk management and also cost management. I will give you something on cost management and risk management. And you can do it in a group of 2 to 3. Okay? So this is how we're going to line up our next 14 weeks with me and her. So basically with me, okay, so with me, you got your project, which is 30%, and your project one will be with Dr. Lee. And then in exam, we're going to have 5 questions, and I will brief you on what is going to be on exam on the last week, or she will brief you on what is on the exam on the last week. At the moment, the exam may be physical, because the dean just suddenly have a very hyper. She just wants, she kind of mentioned that, should we do this, So I think people like Roland and McCurry and all that, maybe when you see her in the next 1 or 2 weeks, try to tell her that you're from Sabah, and say that, or, people like Ngo, you all should be saying that, continue with online for a while, just try to send that message in, okay? But again, that is a decision that we will take for the next, we wouldn't know until later on. She is thinking about it, but we will also, be a bit rubbing in to tell her that, there are some people who are actually not from here, and see what they say. Okay, we'll see what the other lecturers say also, because there is other 5 programs as well. So not only a civil, you see. So I mean, I know for engineering management, there's quite a fair bit of people who are from outstation as well, So I don't think that it's actually doable at the moment. But if she gives you ample of notice, then I may need you to fly in for 3 days to do this. Okay, so I will fight for you, don't worry. But sometimes when the boss says something, we really cannot. Whatever we do, if she's quite persistent with it, there's nothing much we can do. But definitely all the classes is going to be online. Okay, it's definitely going to be online for the next 14 LU. Oral presentation online, some submission of all the assignments, everything is online. And I actually get a question from one of your friends here, whether this course, because it's like McCurry. I think McCurry, you are a British graduate, correct or not, McCurry?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and you are doing this course because you need it for your BEM registration later on, kan?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
think Bronson is also in the same boat as you. So both of you are in the same boat. And I want to point out that, even the courses are online, because this is online because of COVID. These courses are designed to be physical. You see, these courses are actually physical on paper in MQA, Malaysian Quality Assurance, and also with the Board of Engineers. This is actually a normal course. This is not an online distance learning course. Definitely no. Okay, no such thing. So it is only online for these 2 years so far because of COVID and because we cannot bring you back to the campus. That is the only reason. And like our bachelor program, they are all physical program. They are not online distance learning. Okay. So when BM come to check us for our undergraduate program, the paperwork, everything is done based on physical classes, with exception that these 2 years we will put in some proof that because it's actually COVID, some of our classes, the mode is actually online, but it is still considered as a physical class. So you should not have any problem registering with the Board of Engineers later after you graduate with this master course. We have previously about 3 or 4. I think there's from when I become a coordinator, I think there's about 2 that go through my hand. Previously, I think there's another few more, 2 or 3 more. And all of them has no problem. Nobody come back to me, come back to us and sue Unimas, and say that your courses are rubbish, and I cannot register with BEM. So yeah, it's not like that. Okay. So because BEM looks at your undergraduate degree, like yourself, they look at your undergraduate degree. As long as your undergraduate degree from the universities is actually recognized by BEM, it's just that because you do not have a 4-year program, BEM do not register you. It's not that they don't register, they don't recognize your undergraduate degree. They do recognize your undergraduate degree. It's just that because you do it over 3 years, so you need a master's to supplement. Even if you do it in the British universities, they will also make it, it is actually in a way, it is compulsory in Malaysia that you finish that 3 years degree and do their master degree, the original university's master's degree before you come back and register. So you didn't do that, so that's when you have to take a local master degree to supplement that. So it is actually recognized. Okay. So yeah, don't be confused. This is not an online distance ODL. ODL are like OUM, and also those Wawasan. Some of these are ODL. They are really registered as online distance learning. So if you go and take a master's in Wawasan now, okay, Wawasan Open Uni now or OUM now in Masters of Engineering, I can tell you will have problem registering for BM. Okay, because those they may be registered as an ODL. Most of their courses are registered as ODL because they don't have physical class. They don't have like us, like 14 weeks like this, you see. Their classes are like come in and, every month come in, do one class kind of thing, like a tutorial. Most of the classes are online. Those are really ODL, okay? And they don't have like structure like these 14 LUs, over CLOs and all these things. They don't have that. It's all proper paperwork for you to get your for us to get the accreditation. Okay, right. You see, we are actually mapped also to the MQF. So these are the 11 MQF MQA basically from MQF that we've already mapped this particular program to. Like we did some CQI, like continuous quality improvement last SEM with all the lecturers, and we've already mapped everything up to MQF2 as well. So everything is updated, so you don't have to worry. Okay, used to be MQF1, but now it's MQF2 already. Okay, and okay, so that's all from me for the course syllabus, the assignment 50%, and 50% of final exams. These are the outline. I will post it up online as well. But like I say, this is actually I've actually made amendments with the official ones on paper. I don't really go into detail here. I don't really break it down so clearly in this 3 LU, but here I break it down very clearly. It's going to be LCC, VE, and economic analysis. In the E course plan, this is actually just 3 weeks. I put, we just go very general for these 3 weeks. So don't be surprised when you see the E-course plan that, this is slightly different. We're running it differently because I do want you to get more information and knowledge. If I do this scope management with feasibility studies and all this for 3 weeks, I think it's going to be so dry and there's nothing much you can learn from it anyway. It's just wasting your time in a way. Okay? Right. So, yeah, that is it for the course syllabus. And how am I going to run the classes with you? Okay. Like I say, I feel like every one of you are experienced adult students. I would like it to be a bit more interactive. I would like it to be a bit more discussion based. And normally I wouldn't go for a 3-hour class on the Sunday after afternoon from 2:30 to 5:30, you know. I mean, I don't have that energy, and I don't think that you want to do the, you know, until 5:30 as well. So what normally I would do is when I come to classes with you, I will go through with you the syllabus for about an hour to 1.5 hours. Then after that, I will spend some time working on your assignment and working on discussion with you all for another half an hour to 1 hour. And I would really want you to make use of the time for you to show me your work. For example, if let's say next week, after next week, I want you all to create your WBS. You know, and by the week LU3, some of you should show me your WBS, and you know, I will go through with you where are the issues and all that. Okay. And then for the let's say for life cycle costing, after we've done life cycle costing, I will give you very, very simple questions or something like that. For you all, when you listen to the recording, there's going to be some sort of simple discussion going on. Then we will talk about that to see whether you truly understand whatever that is going on in the recording, you see. So it's more on the application bit. So we will do that more, you see. And then especially when Dr. Lee starts to give you the assignment and I give you the group project, we will start to work on that project. So those 30 minutes to 1 hour, so we're going to have like 2.5 hours kind of study until about 5 o'clock maybe. Then it's more on discussion and try to get your assignment out, get your project finished, you know. I do not want any one of you, I give you the assignment and then you disappear, you never, when I ask about question, nobody has any question, and then at week 12, any assignment, I bang sang, you know, you do everything salah. So that is what is happening. It doesn't happen with my main courses anymore, but it's happening with my MSc engineering management program. You know, these people are not doing it seriously. So I have like 7 students who fell. I've got 7 students who sit for project management class last sem, and 6 of them actually kind of failed. You see, so I mean, like, so you will know what to expect from me. Okay, so yeah, please make use of that discussion time that we have. You know, we go through the assignments so that you get the maximum marks from the assignments, from the project. And then in the discussion that we have, some of it will probably be related to your exams and all that. So you get a better feel about what you're going to be seeing in exams and how you're going to answer those questions and all that. So these are all, we want to be fully preparing you for you know, getting a good grade in that sense, because none of you here at the moment, your CGPA is actually less than 3. So that is really, really good. Yeah, so I have nothing much to worry about that, but I do not want any one of you to fall under CGPS, fall under 3. So I do not want anyone to fail this, okay? And I don't know why, surprisingly, there are people who fail project management. You know, I do have, when I run it last sem, there are people who actually fail it. I think they take it too easy. They feel like, oh, everything is in the notes. You know, when I go for take-home exam, I just copy my notes and put it in, you know, and then end up copy salah, you know, sort of thing. So yeah, we have to be very careful here. There are people who don't do well. Okay. Right. So this is how we're going to run the daily, you know, weekly classes that I have with you, huh? Any questions so far?
Yes, doctor. The project 2, 30% is which one?
Project
So
2 is
group,
going to be on cost management and risk management.
It is a group or solo also? Project 1 is solo, right? Project 2 is what?
Project 1 is solo, yes.
Project 2?
Project 2 is group.
Groups, okay.
When you get project 1, when you finish your project 1, you can take the project 1 data and start to do your project, your group project already. Because you need, for cost management, you need the duration of the project. So let's say you do your solo work, okay? You do your solo work. And then when you come to group together, when you come to do it together as a group, okay? You can, let's say you and your friend, 2 of you, You know, you may want to use his assignment or your assignment, the work breakdown, up to you. And then you use it as a group assignment to take the things that you've done in the duration, you know, the calculation of duration and all that. You can take that and use it for your group assignment. You understand? Because cost management, you need for material and machineries, for manpower and machinery, you need duration to do the calculation. So you can take the duration from any one of your individual assignment and use that to produce your costing work later on. And you use the same work breakdown structure that you're going to create to do your risk management as well later on. Yeah. You can come up with a brand new one. It's up to you also, you know, but then for convenient purpose, you can actually just do the individual one first, finish up your time, and you've got all the duration and Gantt chart and everything already. And then from there, when you move on to do the group assignment, you just pick one of the individual assignment that you use the time, you know, and then use it for your group assignment also can. Yeah. Or you and your group want to create a separate one also can. It's actually fine, you know.
Okay, doctor.
I leave it to you. There is no constraint in that sense, huh? I did discuss with Dr. Lee that whether we should do time as a group assignment, but she felt like maybe time, you know, it's better for everybody to get their hands on it, you know. And for cost management, actually there is many components. You need to calculate for machineries, you need to calculate for materials, you need to calculate for manpower. So it's better to have group in that sense, because from there, from the group, you know, somebody can be in charge of doing the manpower, somebody can be in charge of calculating the material, you know. So it probably be better to do cost with group assignment because the scope is a lot heavier. For time, is actually more straightforward. You need to calculate, you need to do your work breakdown. From your work breakdown, you will do your calculation of your production rate, arrangement of your resources and your production rate. And then after that, you can create your first, do your activity sequencing, and then do the, we will just enforce. I'm not sure whether she's going to get you to do CPM or not, but I will discuss with her. Still is in the discussion stage, but definitely a Gantt chart you're going to be producing using a Microsoft project. So Microsoft project, if you don't have the software, it's actually available in the universities. She will send you the link to install it in your computer as well if you need it. Some of you already have it in your office, so it's not an issue. Yeah. Okay. So time is a bit more straightforward. The steps is a bit more straightforward. So I think it's okay to do an individual assignment. The cost and risk later on, risk later on is going to be quite big as well, because it will need some team effort to do it, because you need to sit down and do risk identification, and then to actually work out on the probability and the consequences and come up with the risk metrics and then make the mitigation plans. So this one, I think, will need people, you know, if you pick the group assignment, I mean, this is also by group assignment. So you can have the same assignment as you're going to be doing for cost, or you can have a separate one. It's up to you as well. Then you need a group effort to sit down and work on it, because some people, if your working experience is a lot more, then you know you may be able to pick up some of the risks and do the calculation, like the probability and occurrences and all that, a little bit better than the others. So it will be good to tap on each other's resources in that sense. Yeah, I hope you understand what I'm trying to get here.
Yes, doctor. Okay.
And any issues, any other issues you want to think about on the course, I mean on the course outline kind of thing? Anyone confused about why we're doing this? No, everybody's fine. Okay, yeah. All right, so I will off this one first. Maybe the notes first. Yeah. Okay. I've got some slides here. These are actually very basic stuff. I put Malu Mau talk about it actually, because I think all of you know about this, and or am I overestimating you? I don't know. Okay, but these notes are very complete. There's about 50 pages of slides here, which I will go through quite quickly. And this is just to refresh you on what is project management and why we need to do project management, and why basically this is what the fundamentals of project management is all about. It's just that I mean, like, especially those people who has done my undergraduate studies with me last year or even a few years back, I think you all still have my notes, and they are probably about the same thing. It is about the same thing. You probably have heard of it before. You remember it. You've sit for exam before. And it's all day. And those of you who are maybe there are people who are actually just graduated from other universities. They have not done it before, maybe, they're not in that kind of detail. And some of you are like working people that has worked for more than 10 years. We forgot all about this. So unfortunately, because there's so much of variety and mix here, we will still have to kind of like go through it with you all. So if you find it a bit boring, I'm sorry lah, but if you find it a bit refreshing, I mean like a refresher course, then that is good lah, right? And fundamentals, basically, what is a project? Project is about project management is nothing new lah. Also, when you have every what we call every project, there is there is an objective. There's something that you need to deliver. It's something unique that you need to deliver at the end of the day. It's a temporary endeavors, meaning that you don't do project forever. You don't do that one project forever. If you do one project forever, it's a project sucky. Okay. So most project has a deadline. All project, I wouldn't say most. All project has a deadline. If it's a 10 years project of man going to moon, or putting ourselves on Mars one day, or building a house or development on Mars, on planet Mars in 20 years time, if we start now, this is a project Mars, then 20 years is a timeline. So all projects have a timeline, all projects have an objective. It is aiming to deliver something. For us as civil engineer, which all of us are here or related to civil engineering, our project is to deliver some infrastructures like road, drains, sewage systems, water reticulation pipelines, raw water intake tank, raw water intake system, treatment plant. Some of you are developers. You will have you will have projects that deals with commercial, residential. So us as civil engineers, our projects are very, very obvious and straightforward. And all our life as civil engineers, we deal with projects. We don't have anything permanent. We are not doing a company management. We are not running a company. We're running a project. So when you muscle a company, you are engaged as a project engineer. You're engaged. If you work for a consultant, you are actually designing a project. You design a project that there's a deadline. You have to finish designing when and this has to be built in 12 months or 18 months or 36 months. Some project lasts for 5 years. Some project lasts for 10 years. Depending on the phases and all that. Some project will last for 36 months. The short ones normally will last for 12 months. Even to do a auto gate, or to build footpath that takes 6 months, or to lay a telecom cable that takes 3 months. These are all projects, okay? So time is not a matter, but all project has a timeline, it has a time frame, okay? And all the product that you build is unique. It is a result that is verified, meaning that engineers will have to come in and do the design. No project is a double of one another. It's going to be a double, I'm sure you know that. When we build houses in this piece of land, then this is the first time. Even if 20 years later you tear down all the houses and you refurbish them or you rebuild them, it is a different project. Even if the same piece of land, the land over 20 years is already a different feel, it's a different stories. It has different things sitting on it. It has gone through different kind of settlement and all that. So this one here, even if you're building at the same location, like for example, pipeline, I can build Kuching Samarahan pipeline all the way up, all the way to Samarahan. Yes, we built that pipeline, and then later on, now after 15 years, water may not be enough. We're going to do another pipeline, next to it. But it is not the same project anymore because it's a different design, it's a different location. You're building adjacent to it. When you're building adjacent to it, now Samarahan Road compared to 15 years ago is completely different. The road systems and the land, the ground, the soil conditions, they're all very different from 15 years ago. Even though the route is about the same, but it is not the same project. So we have to realize that every project is different. Every project is unique, okay? So when we pick a project, if there is a temporary thing, it is a temporary thing. It needs a lot of resources. It needs a lot of people to be in charge of it. So every project is a unique product. It is also a contract. So when we embark onto a project, we embark onto a different contract. Okay. So these are some of the definition of what is a project. Okay. So when after you understand what is a project, so you understand that because we have a lot of people, a lot of resources have to work together to perform in order to deliver the project, then you will realize that it takes a lot of effort and it needs to be managed. It's not about knowing technical, it's not about design only. It's about being able to manage the project in a way that you ensure that the delivery and the processes that you go through in order to deliver the project is going to be as smooth as possible. There's no such thing as a perfect, smooth project. We all will face problems, we all will face issues as we go along. And that's the wonderful part about having a project. There is never a boring moment, Otherwise, every one of us as engineers will be so free. We just sit here, project start, goyang kaki, and then 12 months later, project deliver. Is that possible? I say any one of you here will tell me that is a dream, doctor. Correct or not? That's a dream. Nothing like that ever happened. Every morning you will receive phone calls. Every afternoon you will receive phone calls from site. You will hear problems. People will call you. Client will call you. And your site people will call you. Whether you are eating or whether you are in a toilet pooing, the phone call never stops because there will always be problems. Okay, and that is the dynamic part of having a project. So when there's many people, many resources needs to be working together, it has to be managed. Things has to be balanced. Things cannot be tipped out of balance. Somebody on site cannot be having all the benefit and somebody on the losing end. Then you sure have issues coming out. And when you deliver something to site, you must deliver at the right time. If you're not pouring concrete today and suddenly somebody make a mistake and order 5 meter cube of concrete come to site, then how? Pour it in a drain. Then you lost how many? 2,000 ringgit for that one truck. So you see, if you don't order it on time, if you don't keep your inventory on time, if you don't coordinate the project properly, we will have problems, you see. We will have issues. So in order for project to be running in a smooth, as smooth as possible, in a way that will fulfill all the objectives that you set up in the first place, project needs to be managed. So when you apply the concept of management onto a project, okay, when you apply management, skills and tools and techniques of management onto a project, we are essentially trying to marry project and management. Okay, so we're actually marrying project and management, so we get this perfect match called project management. And it is a perfect match because for civil engineers, we do project management. Other engineering, they don't really do project management. They do engineering management. M&E engineers don't really need to manage projects in a sense, okay, because they are not the lead consultant, they are not the lead people, they are always coordinated together with the civil people. So civil people are, for all civil projects, civil are the lead consultants. If you for architects, of course, for structural, for building work, of course, architects is the lead consultant. So, but even for structural work like bridges and all that, engineers are usually the lead consultants. So we are the ones that have to make sure that projects are being run very smoothly. So in any civil engineering course, you will see that project management is a very specific topic. For all other engineers like EE, M&E, mechanical, electrical, chemical, they don't really learn project management as a specific topic, as a specific subject. They will just go for a very general, general engineering management. So here we are more, in a way, we are more special in that sense. Yeah. Right. So there are many categories of projects. These are different type of projects, you can have. These are very, very, just very theoretical stuff that we see. So how do you measure a project? Normally, we will measure that, you complete it within the features, the scope of work that is given. You must complete within the time, cost, quality, and then make sure that the project is run and the integrity of the scope is actually retained, and people, man, machineries, materials, manpower, money, they're all being managed and be carefully managed, okay? So the goal of any project is to deliver that project, deliver that scope of work, deliver whatever that was called for, the requirement, deliver that thing, that particular product or that particular facilities or that particular results that is required within the time given, within the budget given, to the satisfaction of the customer or the satisfaction of the stakeholders or the satisfaction of the end user, whoever is supposed to be saying, to give you that light, okay? So that is to perform to the satisfaction. So here, that's why you see we have to learn scope management, time management, cost management, quality management. And then within all this, you are also learning things like manpower, machinery, materials, methods, resources. These are resources management, okay? And with resources management, external things like contract, procurement, contract, under contract, under procurement, there's contract, there is contract type, there's contract documents, there are contract administration, tendering, strategy, procurement strategies. These are all knowledge that is required in order to deliver that scope of work. See, project cannot just sit there without procurement and the scope will be delivered. There's no such thing. You need to form a contract. You need to get your builder. You need to bring in your contractor, who is a contractor, who is a designers. When they have to finish the job and all that, it needs to be properly listed down. It needs to be, you need to pick the right people to work for you. That is tendering, getting a quotation, request for proposal. All these things are part of procurement management. So procurement management are strongly related to scope management. So if you do not know your scope, you do not know what to purchase. It's just like I'm telling you, let's go shopping. We go shopping today. And then you don't tell me, like I give you money, you go shopping, but I never tell you what to buy. That means I never tell you what is the scope of work. So without procurement, without the scope of work, doesn't work. So if I go shopping for today and I don't tell you what to buy, so it's very simple, like MCO. A lot of you, your wife get you to go and buy, groceries. So you have money in your hand, you've got credit card, you are doing your procurement, you see. But back in the supermarket, you realize that she didn't give you the shopping list. And then you're all confused. You stand there, you don't know what to do, You have money, you have credit card, you've got pay, everything is there, but no shopping list. So with scope management, you cannot buy, you see. So procurement will always come after scope management, and then from there you decide, okay, after you buy the thing, you put it on the counter, then the girl will ask you, cash, credit card, or e-pay. Then that is also what we call payment mode. You see, so payment mode, in a way, is your contract, your lump sum contract, your BQ contract. Okay, it's different type of contract, different type of payment method. Okay, so this one here will form that, you know, and then when you go to see which supermarket you want to buy from, that is tendering. Which supermarket is going to give you a better rate? So tendering, request for proposal, these are part of selecting who is better for your project. It's a process. Then later on, you get the transaction done, you get the receipt. That is contract management. Okay. So part and parcel of procurement management is going to be supporting the delivery of the project. Okay, that scope of work. And then we also have risk management, okay, team management, people management, how to manage a team, how to manage communication. These are very standard in PMBOK. So PMBOK knowledge will flow into that areas of the scope, time, cost, quality, risk, procurement, and team integration. All these are project management knowledge, standard knowledge. Of course, as engineers, as civil engineers, we also are concerned about safety management. You know, there are other aspects, environmental management. These are all other aspects that we are also concerned about. But under the PMBOK, normally for any project, we are concerned about that. I think it's seven or 9 areas. I forgot. Scope, time, cost, quality, team, communication, procurement. Yeah, I think it's 9 areas of project management that you are concerned with here. Okay, so this is overview of management. Management is about planning, organizing, controlling, leading. So these are typical management. So planning, organizing, leading, controlling. We do that for a bank too. If you own a supermarket, you also do planning, organizing, leading, controlling. So that's why you are the GM, general manager. That's why you're the bank manager. So manager do planning, organizing, leading, controlling. These are very standard functions of management. So all people who are in management will always worry about these 4 functions: planning, organizing, leading, controlling, and monitoring. Normally, monitoring and controlling will come together. So this idea of management, okay, is to organize people, machinery, information, materials, methods. You are trying to lead your team. You're going to plan. You're going to do design. You're going to do your economic analysis. Part and parcel of this, you are doing it already. You are actually managing the project, but actually you do not know, okay, that you are managing the project. We are managing our project day in, day out. You're just not sure. You know, you are not sure like the actual terms for it. Okay. So here, management, general management is a repetitive effort. You know, if you run a bank, it's going to be planning, organizing, leading, controlling day in, day out, day in, day out. But for project, once you apply this onto a project, when the project finish, you stop. Then you will apply that to the next project with a different nature, with a different effort. The nature are different, the characteristics are different, the areas are different, the locations are different. Then it's a whole new application of planning, organizing, and controlling. You may not be able to apply what you have learned previously fully onto the next project. And that is why civil engineers, we do project management. We're applying the concept of management, planning, organizing, leading, controlling onto a project. Okay. So project management is application of knowledge, skills, tools, techniques to project activities to meet project requirement. Okay. So yeah, this is, oh, sorry, not 9, 10 areas. Okay, 10 areas of project management. So normally we don't really say stakeholder management. So I always remember as 9. So it's going to be scope, time, cost, quality. Resources is actually part of time management normally. So communication, risk, and procurement, and project integration management. So this is the PM box, the usual PM box. We apply that to our project. Okay, this is the PM project management area of knowledge that you need to learn. At the very, very basic, you need to learn this before you can say that, you are a proper project manager. Okay, so project management, what is project management all about? The functions of management, or planning, organizing, leading, controlling. These are all refresher. So what do you do in planning? Okay, what do you do in organizing? What do you do coordinating? What do you do controlling? Okay, so as a project manager, I would say that not only your technical skills is very, very important. Okay, you have to have knowledge, you have to have abilities to manage, you have to have skills, people skills to lead your team of people. For people who can't even work together in a group project, basically you are going to be having a big issues if you become a project manager, because you do not know how to deal with people. Okay, so knowledge is about your technical. You know what is landing moments, you know what is share force, you know what is EIA, you know what is contract documents. These are all knowledge. Okay, knowledge, technical knowledge. You know piling, you know how many blows, you know what are the hammer sizes, you know static load test, dynamic load test. Knowledge is very important. No one should be a project manager unless you have a good technical background. If you don't work as an engineer for 5 years and above, you should not call yourself a project manager. It's very dangerous, okay, because your technical background are not strong. Okay, then you must have the ability, the knowledge of management, and the ability to manage with the people skill. I always emphasize on people skill. You can't be a project manager if you don't know how to deal with people. If your mentality is I hate talking to people, all I want is to stay in front of my computer and for the whole weekend and not associate with anybody, and when I go to site, you better leave me in a corner. I don't want to talk to anybody. These people are very good design engineers. They're going to be very good technically, but you're not going to be good at project management. And in fact, project management requires more than just liking people. It requires you to be able to have good communication skills, good conflict management skills, good negotiation skills, good skills to talk your way out of things as well, and then good understanding of people, understanding of how people function, what people think and what they want and all that. I think is very important. For me as an engineer who is in the field for the past, I don't know, 15, 20 years back, since I've been in the academic and also in the industry, I think people skills is essential, totally essential. In fact, a lot of problems are actually created because of people, not so much of knowledge, not so much of your inability to read a schedule, or your ability to create a budget, or your ability to arrange the resources beautifully. Because they don't function the way that you tell them to. They're not robots. If everybody is robots, then good luck. Everything will go according to your plan. But these are people with their own ideas, with their own knowledge, with their own interests, with their own conflicts. There's many things that motivate different people. They will give you a different answer all the time, and then you will end up having to balance people all the time in order to create that final delivery, to go towards that final delivery, to bring everybody towards that final delivery successfully. Okay, and yeah, like I say, interpersonal skills. This is very important. That's why I have a specific slides, interpersonal skills. Okay. Then we have stakeholders. Stakeholders are people who are interested in the project. They may be actively or passively involved. They may be the paymaster. They may be the end users. So anybody who has a vested interest in the project will be the stakeholder. Okay, so this one is usually the requirement, the earliest stages, the requirement stage. We are actually trying to fulfill the stakeholders' requirement. Okay, so this one I'll explain it a little bit better when it comes to scope management later. Okay. So yeah, we've got different kind of stakeholders. Okay, we've got internally, we've got a team member, the people, the project team, your office, your CEOs, your direct company is the internal stakeholders. External ones are the customer, authority, suppliers, competitors, end users especially. You want to design projects and build projects that is according to the customers and end users requirement. Who are the paymasters? Who are the end users? Okay. Time cost quality, yeah, boring stuff, TCQ, we hear about this all the time, and we do it all the time. Everything is about TCQ. In fact, you ask anybody, a fresh graduate who come out, project management, all about TCQ. They remember this triangle. Always remember this triangle. Never forget about this triangle. Okay. Well, it is not all it is to it, In fact, it is a lot more complicated. I'm sure some of you already know it. It is a lot more complicated than just fulfilling the time cost quality aspect of the project. There's a lot more, like I said, people, there's materials, a lot of things that requires to come together. Okay, so these are what we call the limitation. These are the objectives. At the end of the day, these will limit you. Limit you. These are the three things that you need to balance all the time. Okay. As a project manager, you're always thinking about, money, you're thinking about the cost. And if the cost is affecting the time, or the cost is affecting the quality, or the quality is creating extra cost, extra time, then you get a headache. So these are the constraints. In a way, they are constraints. They are objectives, they are constraints. This is what you aim to do, but because you aim to get there, this will be your constraint. Okay, this will be like your roofs, your ceiling. You cannot hit that ceiling. Okay, you have to function within TCQ. Okay. Right, so further explanation of TCQ. Okay, these are like just a joke to compare between scope of work. When we have a quality time. This is 4 years. This is 3 months. This is 27 million, this is 50K, so this is what you get. So don't be over expecting, you pay 50K and you're thinking you're going to get this, you see. Right. So yeah, these are the relationship between TCQ, okay. So a poorly managed project will have cost overrun, poor quality, rework, a lot of rework, and then uncontrolled expansion of the project, keep on adding new things. And then goodwill will be lost. Stakeholders will not be happy, And then we have poor quality, delays. These are all sick projects. Signs of sick projects. Sick project that has not been managed carefully. Project life cycle. Oh my gosh. Okay, project life cycle. Anybody needs me to talk about project life cycle? Okay, I think this is so basic. Okay, so project life cycle are actually like a life cycle. You and I have a life cycle. We are born, we're created in our mother's stomach, and then we are born, then we will go through being a baby, and then after that we become a toddler, and then we become a child, and then we become a teenager, and then we become a young adult, and some of us now become adult, and then old people, and then you die. Okay, so this is life cycle. Project also have life cycle. Okay, project also have life cycle, and you need to understand project life cycle because in the integration part, if you do not understand the project life cycle, you do not know which part of the PM board are fitting into which part of the life cycle. See, and you are managing project throughout the entire life cycle, not just construction only. Not just design only, or not just design and construction only, or not just in planning only. See, so we need to understand the whole entire project life cycle is actually quite long. Okay, quite long. Usually, easily you take 24 months and above. You're starting from conceptual all the way to planning, to all the way to delivery and maintenance operation. So this will at least take 24 months for you to get to construction even, you see. So, or finish construction. So project life cycle, also the life cycle, project also has the life cycle. Okay. And there will be different parts of the project life cycle that you do different things. Let me go directly to the project life cycle. So you will start from conceptualization. Okay, so conceptualization, the needs and the ideas and where it comes from, where does the needs of the where is the needs of the project? It can be simple things like I want to renovate my house. That is a need because I have been staying here for 15 years. Some of the things are broken, some of the things are old-fashioned. So this is a need or desire. It will create that birth of the project. So from the birth of the project, you will move in to talk about conceptualization. So in conceptualization, you are thinking about, like, should I actually do a 4-lane road? Should I actually build a road? Should I actually build a jetty? Should I build a wharf? Should I build an airport? Should I develop this piece of land? So this part of the conceptualization is what we call the conceptual phase of the project. So in this conceptual phase, okay, the ideas are being identified, and then the requirement, most of it is you're trying to understand what the clients, what the stakeholders actually want, you see. What is the end product that you need to achieve, or what are the needs that you need to fulfill in order for you to finish the project at the end of the day. I mean, like to actually get the final outcome. So these earlier stages, there's no design. Don't think about design. Don't think about anything. Don't think about even options. Just think about the idea that is being shaped. So this is like a forming of the idea. So what is, that, okay, I think we need to build a road. And then you start to think, what point to what point? Which location is the best? Where are the current government road reserve, for example? So you start to find out more ideas, more requirements, more ideas, more constraints, and from there, these can be very, very simple. Like, okay, I think I like it to be like this, make it something interesting, for example. So you actually have let's say my concept is to build a kitchen, outside my house. I have a separate kitchen area, for example. So, these are just very conceptual drawings. These are not engineering drawings. These are just like anybody, like, even a primary 6 kids can sit down and draw their ideas, so you can draw some bridges, how it looks like. And these are the fundamentals of conceptualization. Okay. So from concept, like maybe from here, I can actually start to talk about my scope management. You see, so the scope is initiated. The scope is actually initiated from some organization, some client, some individual, and it can come from different things like, some individual, they have a field, some country, some government, they say, I want to build a iconic building, some is from customer feedback, you're already running a business and then you have some customer feedback, so you want a new product or you want to improve the product and all that. So there are some internal, external sources. So some of it is by experiment, by research, and some of it is by like market needs, a lot of market needs. So these are ideas. These are where all your idea in scope initiation. Okay, in scope initiation, I'm combining it with project life cycle so that I think it will make sense that way. So you don't have to like do it 2 times, that sort of thing. So in your project life cycle, at that conceptualization part, this is in scope management where the birth of the idea comes from. Where are the sources of the needs and desires that comes from. Then from there, you will start to see where in that conceptualization bit, you will start to have some sketches, some form of ideas forming. But when you have the idea forming, you are also looking at the placement of this particular product. Whether, if you're building a road, is it from Kuching to 7 Mile, to Matang, for example, Kuching to Samarahan, Kuching to Serian, for example, or in other smaller locations, you may want to create additional transportation, highway, and all that. So when you are doing that, you're actually understanding where is the location of your project. From that location, that geographical location of your project and where your project will be, where your land will be, and all that, you are trying to come out to actually analyze what are the project environment. Okay, it is very important to actually, from the sources of the idea, you start to study the environment this particular project will be. And this, in the conceptual studies, these are very important. Okay, because even before you go and come up with the concept, I think this is very important. So you need to place it within some form of environment and start to study, where is my project sitting in? And then where is my project located? Okay, so that will determine the land, the topo, the location, the geographical location. It will affect the transportation. It will also affect other things like local government, councils, regulations, and further out external, it may affect the environment, it may affect the culture, it may affect the economy, it may affect the social aspects of the surrounding of the project. So it is very critical that after you have the need and after the need and the desire is created, I mean, it comes up with that sources of idea is done already, you need to start to study the project environment. This is not environmental study. I'm not talking about trees and wastewater and all that sort of things. It's talking about the general environment. Okay. So if I were to put it in a very pictorial format, okay, if I were to put it in a very pictorial format, I will actually start to draw, I will start to insert some sort of shapes. Let me see. Let me draw this. Not very good with drawings, but let me get it out. Okay, so let's have a square thing here. Okay, then after that, this is your external project environment, the most external project environment. And then you will also have your second layer. Okay, and these are the localized factors. The surrounding of the project, the adjacent land, the current existing facilities, current existing facilities, the current road, the current network system, the public transport systems, all sorts of localized authority, localized surrounding your project. Okay, these are the factors that are surrounding your project. And then you have your most internal one, which is your project right in the center. Okay. And this will deal with your project itself, the organization that is going to do the project, the stakeholders, the most direct thing within the project that will be affected. When I draw this project environment, if this is a specific way of what we call a system thinking. When you're doing system thinking, it's like you look at it not as a top down or bottom up. It's actually a picture, a very pictorial format whereby you actually can list down what are the things in the external environment that will affect your project, okay? And what are the things in the localized environment that will affect your project, and what are the things within your organization that will affect your project. And then you go outwards, how your project will affect your organization and the team and the stakeholders. How will it bring benefit or disadvantages? Then it will go out to the localized. How would this project actually bring out, affect the localized environment, and how would this project actually affect the economy of the area, affect the demographic of the area, affect the road network, affect the traffic, affect the water system, affect the sewage centralized systems. So capacities and all that, these are all within that project environment that you need to look at, okay? And there's one technique that we use is called issue analysis or issue management. So issue management and issue analysis, what you need to do is you need to point out, you need to create all, you need to brainstorm your project at the center and then create all these surrounding external and localized and internal that is affected by the project and towards the project. What kind of issue will create constraint? What kind of issue will create opportunities for your project? What you think about your project that is so good? Maybe it's the location, maybe it's the ground condition, maybe it's the surrounding existing facilities that are all built up already. Then these are all the benefit of that the project has that will actually make the project a lot more valuable, a lot more worth it, and a lot more feasible, for example. So once you have identified all these issues, whether like I said, external, localized, and internal, directly internal, especially within the stakeholders and the organization itself, then you are actually listing down all the issue. You're actually identifying all the issue that is actually affecting and will be affected by your project later on. Okay. And then once you've done the issue identification, you will filter those issues. Some of these issues will be very, very relevant. Some of these issues will be an opportunity. Some of these issues will be why do I have two issue definition identification? Okay. So yeah, after you filter it, you will realize some issues are actually not important, so you just take it out. Some issues are actually have very, very strong link and very strong opportunities or very strong disadvantages, so you will retain those, and then you fully define the issues. Okay, so once after you've done the issues, you can do the analysis of that issues analysis, and then you've got at least the complete picture of where your project will be situated and located, and how what sort of the ideas of creating the concept slowly emerge from there. Okay, so when you start to come up with a solution, when the birth of this, like when the birth of this project here, once the concept starts to become more and more obvious and more clearer, if you have done this particular exercise, you will realize that whatever concept you have, it will be doable or not doable. Immediately, it will be very much shown whether it will affect the localized environment, affecting the external environment, the economy, social, and all that. And some of this localized environment, including authority requirement and submissions and all that. So this, you will start to see that whether it's doable or not. Like SPA, State Planning Authority, Sabah State Planning Authority and all that. These are some of the requirements that you start to see and start to filter, and these are important, and it will affect the concept. So you may have a out of the world kind of concept, but if you place it in that environment, do your issue analysis and management, you will start to realize that some ideas may not work. And this is like you're building that core, the function, that core center of that particular project first at that point in time. And then with this, you will start to fill up the need for the project. Any questions so far here? And some people actually, there is another technique besides issue management, is environmental impact assessment. This is what we call EIA. Okay, so EIA is another study that you can do. This is actually a little bit different from the environment, like how the NREB, they like to actually ask you to do EIA report. It's a little bit different. This is actually another environment study. So in this environment study, you're actually trying to study the social, economic, traffic, legal, political, financial, everything about this project that you are studying. This is just tools and techniques. So either you use the issue analysis, issue management method, or you use the EIA method to actually study the project environment. The purpose of all this, okay? The purpose of all this is basically we are trying to get the initial concept out first. Okay, you get that initial concept. Okay, you're building a road now from which point to which point. You're building a highway, you're building freeway, you're building flyovers. Okay, you're building drainage to solve problems. You see, solve flooding problems in Samarahan. You're building drainage to solve problems with Batu Kitan flooding, for example. So this kind of initial concept that you have, once you put it together with the project environment study, you will get a better feel to actually build up that particular concept. Okay, so here now, once you've already seen the EIA or the environmental, EIA or the issue management or analysis, or you can do both, okay, because they are both different techniques actually. And EIA actually, besides screening the physical environment, you're also screening the environmental, the social impact, and the legal, the economics as well. So I think there's no harm. Yeah, about the same thing to me. It's just a matter of they call it differently in that sense. Yeah. And don't get this confused with the EIA that NREB will be actually calling for. Those are actually more on the environmental impact assessment, more on the water quality, sound, flora, fauna, river, more on environmental impact assessment. Those are those things. But EIA in general, environmental impact assessments, they're talking about the project environment. How, when you put in a new project, how does it affect the things outside, and how the outside things actually affect the project? And that will actually make the creator, the content creator, or what we call the scope person, the person who's supposed to create the scope, to have a better idea of what can be done and what should be done and what cannot be done and what absolutely doesn't work, for example. So then when you come to that stage, you are actually finishing up what we call your conceptual studies, okay? And then part 2 of the notes here, we are talking about, this one I will go through it with you next week, okay, to be a bit more detailed with you. So in terms of scope definition, once you've got your concept study done, you are actually going into the development phase of the project. Are you guys still here? I mean, they're talking for 2 hours. Everybody is quite quiet. Huh? Don't tell me everybody has dozes off already. Let me go back to my notes. So once your concept studies, the requirement, the needs, so we call in scope studies, we will call this our project charter. So this project charter, they have some sketches with some sort of like detailing, with some details that you want, some form of the constraints, the limitations, the requirements. So you list down what we call a project charter. And in this project charter, once the client will look at the project charter and say, okay, I like this concept, it's probably doable. I may have the money to do it, so yeah, so you may give a very rough cost estimation of that particular concept as well, based on historical data or analogy estimates. And then after that, you will move on to the development stage of the project, which will include feasibility studies. And in this development phase of the project, you are actually going to fill up the needs now. You are going to look into the technical aspects. You're going to be looking into the like maybe you can do your topo at this point in time. You can start to do technically, you can do your topos, preliminary site investigation, site walkabout, survey work. All this it can be done already. So this investigation work will definitely help you to make sure that the idea that you're creating is actually a lot more doable. And then you will also move in and start to plan for preliminary design, and then also to do your work breakdown. Like in scope management now, you're actually defining we are in the scope planning stage already. Then the other stage that when you come up with this, you need to really study the whether the project is doable or not. It's very important. At the end of this at the end of this feasibility stage, you are really looking at whether the project is actually feasible. Feasible means that whether you have whether economically it's actually advantageous, technically it's actually doable or not, time-wise, money-wise, and then whether it can be fully operating, it will be doing good to the people. This has to be all answered during this stage of conceptualization flowing into development. Okay, so you're collecting data, you're doing some sort of economic analysis as well. And in fact, at this stage, we are answering that question. Are we going ahead with it or not? So in scope studies, this is the part you are answering the robustness. Is the project actually robust? Are you going to go for it? Is this a yes? If it's a yes, then you embark onto what we call option studies. There's many options. You can build a 2-lane, you can build a flyover, you can build a normal road with 4 lanes. There's many options. You can build covered drains. You can build like big drains, you can build small drains, you can build open drain, you can build it with covered. You can use different options. You can have different routes as well. So there are many possibilities. Even if you build pipelines, there may be different type of pipes, different type of sizes that you're going to go for. And how would that bring advantages to the future maintenance, operations, and all that? So you are considering all this during this stage, and the outcome of this stage will be what we call a scope statement, what we call your work breakdown will come out from here. Okay, so in your project life cycle during the feasibility study stage, okay, you will actually do your whether the project is a yes or no and what are the options to it. Then from there, you will move into doing your planning. You're planning to do your design, it can be preliminary or you can go straight to the final designs and then get your authority submissions all done, and then moving into submission is in detail design, but submission as in here will be we're talking about planning authorities such as SPA and all that. So you're getting your layout done and all that, and then after that, moving into detailed design. This is where you do your submissions to DID, to councils, to your different authority like JKR, councils, BOMBA. So this bit here, both parts you do submission. This part you will do submissions to the planning authority. This part you do submissions because your design is ready. And then you move into the construction aspects of things and then testing, commissioning. And then after that, we are talking about process of handing over, process of operation, and then maintenance, and then recycling of the project. And then that is the end of the project life cycle. So basically that is the project life cycle. Okay. So the project life cycle will actually, one scope management actually overlap project life cycle. In fact, the entire project life cycle is about the delivery of that scope. From the beginning, where the sources of ideas come from, then to the conceptualization, where you understand the project environment, issue management, then you have your project charter, and then after that, you move in and define your project is during the development stage of the project. Okay, you come up with the conceptual report and then your scope planning. You do your option studies, you do your yes and no, the robustness of the project. Okay, option studies, risk management, risk analysis, all this will be done during the stage. And then, yes, the project is go ahead, we're going to go with this particular option. You've done your economic analysis, your NPV, your CBR, all done, clear, go ahead, we're doing it. Then you do your design. Then once the design is done, you do a preliminary design for submission to the planning authority, and then you move on and then do the detailed design. Once, let's say, SPA approve your design, in Sarawak, we have our SPA. I'm not sure what Sabah side calls them to be. Maybe you all can enlighten me, okay, Macquarie, but it's the same thing, okay? I mean, like you have your planning authority. So then if any development project, you have to go to the planning authority, okay? So when the planning authority say, yes, go ahead, they give you approval, then you can start your detailed design going in and actually submit to all the different authorities. By then, your scope are pretty much defined. It's completely defined already, and it's actually very clear on what you will be doing, actually. So if you look at my notes here, scope definitions, scope planning, this is development stage. This is actually running in conjunction to your project life cycle in that sense. So your scope management don't finish. It doesn't finish once you finish your scope, you know. So once you've got your scope done, okay, you understand all your project constraints, success criteria, then you talk about the robustness test, meaning the options. This is what we do with during the feasibility stage. Okay, so you do your feasibility studies, then this is your feasibility studies. And from the feasibility studies, there's many economic studies, risk assessments. And then once this is done, you also have the environmental and financial analysis. Then you essentially finish planning for your scope of work, and then we will put it through worth and value, which is your LCC and also your VE. And then from there, you do your scope control. You see, your scope change control. And this is doing construction. You make sure that the changes, the variation don't get too much until you have a scope creep, you see. So we will explain more on this next week with you all, okay? And just to bear in mind that with the project life cycle, you can see how this scope management actually is applicable for the entire project life cycle from the beginning until the end, okay? Then when it comes to time, cost, quality, these are also related to your scope, okay? Time and scope have to go hand in hand. If you have a big scope of work, you need longer time. If you have a big scope of work, you need bigger budget. If you have a big scope of work, you have high standard for your scope of work, you need a bigger budget, you need quality. The quality standards are being set up differently. So you see, time, cost, quality also is like the next layer. After you've done your scope management, the next layer is TCQ. You see, the next layer, it also comes in earlier stages of time, cost, quality. Also coming in earlier stages during the conceptual phase. It also comes in during the feasibility phase. It also comes in during the construction phase. It also comes in during the detailed design phases. So these are all parts and parcels, especially in construction. We see a lot in construction. We forget that it should be as early as possible. See? And like cost management, you have concept analogy estimates. You've got parametric estimates. You've got different type of estimates that will be used at different stages of the project life cycle so that the stakeholders can get a better idea how much the project will cost, and that will affect the decision from the moment the sources of the idea comes about, down to whether it's a yes or no, down to which option that they're going to choose, and down to what construction capital that they need to put in. You see, so this time, cost, quality is the following layers, okay? And to encompass all of them, procurement will come in as well after scope management, and this is related to time, cost, quality as well. So with the time, cost, quality requirement, you will have the third layer coming in of procurement management. And in the procurement management and the rest of the technique like resources, risk, and also team communication, these are all supporting this central scope, time, cost, quality, procurement sort of management. So I hope you all get the picture about where we are going and how project management is just not about I manage time only, I manage cost only, you know. You kind of like constrain yourself into that kind of mentality. Again, system thinking is very important. You need to see things from the bird eye view, you know, top down, you know, with a lot, not top down, but you know, you see as a pictorial with many factors, and many factors are linked with one another. Some has very, very strong linkage, some has medium linkage, and some has very weak linkage. So once you get that study recognized, that you understand that mentality of having a system thinking of a project environment, scope will slowly be born. You know, it will materialize slowly. You know, it will come about slowly, but slowly is good, because the slower you go, the materialization is not performed, you know, surprise, you know, it's slowly. It will come phase by phase, bit by bit, and then you realize that if you do it that way, you are actually addressing a lot of issues at the same time. You're actually solving problems and not creating another problem. And that is so essential for us as an engineer. We don't want to build something and create tons of problems, you see. I recently I'm actually recently asked to assess a project, okay, a development project. And I find that the developer just did not even think about traffic. You know, that area is already very congested. When they propose another development within that particular area, they do not think about the existing access road exit and extra access that is needed, and how is that highway or that freeway is going to cater for this development of, like, say 40 acres or 50 acres with 500 new residents in it later on, minimum, you see. So it's important to put that environment, put project in the environment before you start and do anything else first. You know, a lot of people, they like to go straight to scope definition and then define the scope. Oh, I want to build like 18 stories apartment, five blocks, you know, and I'll put road here, I'll put this thing there, you know, I'll put water here, I'll put normal sewage systems, you know, and it doesn't work. At the end of the day, if these things get approved, it doesn't work. That's why you have flooding problem. That's why you've got traffic congestion. That's why you've got water supply not enough. And they don't think in that sense. They don't think in that project environment sense. And when we try to access this particular proposal, we find that none of the developers actually are thinking along that line. Is it because their engineers are not trained to do that? Or is it because they are not, because they just don't realize that it's important? So ideas, anybody can have any ideas. So these people can come up with a concept, but it doesn't address anything, and it doesn't create any advantages. In fact, it will create more problems. And this problem will be reflected later on to the sales of the property as well. They are all related. There's nothing that is standalone. So for me, I like my students to think things in the big picture. Start off with that system thinking. Start off with that. Don't straight away jump in and say that I want to create, you know, I want to solve problems. Think about where your problems are. Where is it located? And from there, think about internally what your organization capacities is like, what your ability, what are your resources, what are your stakeholders, what are your company policy, what are your mission, what are your vision, you know, who are your stakeholders, who are your end user, and then move on next to the next environment, local environment. Who are your localized, you're doing in Kuching, you're doing in Miri, you're doing in Betong, they're all different authorities, you know, and different authority with different requirements. So that is a localized factor. And look at the existing facilities. Where are the roads now? What are the road situation now? Where are the exit? Where are the entrance? Look at the current water supply now. Look at the development of the adjacent development. You know, look at what other people are doing. What have they created? You see, and then look at yours, you see, and then from there, look at also the existing facility. Is there any nearby substation? Is there any nearby pillar hydrant? Is there or your land is completely so inner, you know, to the main road that you may have to create a lot of new existing infrastructure to get to your land. So these are the localized factors and the ground conditions. These are the things that you cannot change. Okay. Internal things you can change, you see. You can change your project nature, you can change your project characteristics, but you cannot change the authority, you cannot change the land condition, you cannot change the topo, you cannot change the type of soil, you cannot change the location of the land, you cannot change the location of the project. Okay, you cannot change the weather condition in that location. You cannot change the transportability. You cannot change the access. You see, so these are the second layer, localized factors. You cannot change. But when your project goes in, it will create more problems. Will it create more problems? The localized environment. Okay. Then externally is the economy. does your current economy, the current demography actually support your project? If you're going to build like a semi-D that is going to cost like 2 million to 3 million, in Asa Jaya, who's going to buy? You see? So you need to understand the external economy, the external demography. So, and then that will actually determine a lot of other things later on, you see. So that will affect your project, the project worth, the project value, and all that. And that will actually ripple back into the environment. The environment will affect the project, the project will later on affect the environment. So that system thinking of creating what is the characteristic, what is the nature, what is the scope of work for your project, it is essential to study the environment, the project environment, through what we call system thinking, through what we call issue management, or through what we call EIA, environmental impact study, environmental impact assessment. Okay, so these are the few tools and techniques that you should embark onto before you even think about yes or no study, like start to go to the design board and start to design, and start to put in buildings, don't do that. Study that first, and then slowly the idea will come in, the concept will form. And then when the concept will form, your project charter form. When your project charter form, you will go in and start to do more studies, more options, option studies, definitions, and that will slowly bring into the clearer the clearer scope of work for your project. Okay, so I will explain that in a little bit more detail next week. So basically, we kind of like stop here in scope definition. So this is what we call scope management. Okay, and also besides that, we are also looking at, today we've done the fundamentals. We've done some of the what I call the revision work with everybody who forgot about some of the terms that we have in project management, project management, project life cycle management, management functions, planning, leading, organizing, controlling, quality control, that kind of thing. So we actually went through that, and then started on scope management as well. Okay, and any questions so far? We can do a bit of discussion now. I mean, it's actually still early. I mean, we it's up to you. Okay. Let me share my screen again on the QR code. Anyone who hasn't keyed in your QR code? I've only got 12, Yeah, I've only got 12. There should be 13 of you.
Need to scan.
Who? Richard, is it?
Correct.
Your name is on here.
QR code, please.
Okay, Ken. Okay, Ken. Because I don't know, I thought you want me to key in manually. I don't seem to be able to find my manual button. Okay, so everybody is keying already. So yeah, this is done. Okay. Are you guys still alive?
Yes, doctor.
Okay.
Yeah, Doctor.
Are you guys okay? I mean, you find the thing making sense to you all, like the classes? Do I need to talk slower, or do I need to talk faster, or do I need to slow down, or whatever? Please let me know.
So far, so good, Doctor.
So far, so good, huh?
Yeah.
So do you find that what I've spoken about is actually relevant to your work as well at the moment?
Yes, yes.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you. Noram, you are in which company?
Pardon?
You are in which company? Like you are in which area? Like a consultant or
Consultant.
consultant? So yeah, I mean, like I think consultant, a lot of you are actually doing a lot of design work, right?
Yeah, also we take project management to supervise the management and the progress.
Okay. That means you will have no problem later on trying to find some case studies, because the work breakdown later on we will get you to get your work breakdown structure. Do your work breakdown structure, do your time, cost, quality. I think you will have some project that you have already got in your hands now to use.
Yeah.
Try to help Arthur a little bit. He's quite new here. He's your friend, okay?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, and Roland, McCurry, how are you guys?
Yes, we are good, Doctor.
Um,
I'm okay, doctor. Yeah.
yeah. How do you find the classes? Okay?
Very, very impressive.
Because some of my undergraduate, they're very cute one. After 14 weeks, they say, doctor, can you talk slower? We actually didn't understand. I said, now you tell me, so but they are younger lah. So you all, if I have any problem with my speaking or with am I being too fast or am I, you can't understand me, things like that, you have to let me know as early as possible, because otherwise sometimes I get a bit too carried away, until I just keep on talking, and then didn't realize that some of you are actually lost, you see. Ashraf, you okay, Ashraf? Ashraf, are you still here? No, you have your
Yes, doctor.
you are here, Ashraf. Okay, you okay with my speaking and all that? Boleh lah, huh? Your line is not very good, is it?
Yes, doctor.
Okay,
Okay.
all right, no problem. If you understand this, that's the most important thing. But I have this on the recorded already. So later on after the class, I will process it by tomorrow. I usually put up a YouTube link on eLeak, and then you can download the recording again. And then what you do is I will post my notes as well at the same time. So if you go through the notes and you don't understand what is in the notes, then maybe you can go back to that part of the recording where I explain that part of the notes, and then you can re-listen back to it. So that would be actually helpful for you all, especially some students, they are a bit slow in picking. So you can actually listen back to the recording, okay? Yeah. Richard
doctor.
and Richard and Shikin, I think you all have sat for my classes before. So these are the things that you've done. You're familiar with me since last year. So yeah, like Rama and Haiza are probably a bit too far away already, huh? So yeah. Okay. What's Richard's name? How come I don't see his name here? Go kick out, is it? No, he's still here. Shirley, are you okay, Shirley?
Yes.
Okay, huh?
Yeah.
Related to your work, I hope.
Yes, very much.
So you see that I hope you all get a different perspective of what project management is all about, huh? And maybe in the future, when you start to run your own project, you will actually be able to use some of the tools and techniques better to bring more benefit to your project and to your profit, in that sense, huh? Anyone else have anything? Zhu, are you okay, Zhu? Johnson, Zhu, new students today, so yeah.
Okay, doctor. Okay.
Boleh, huh?
Boleh.
I spoke to Dr. Lee for you already. She's more than happy to. I think she will definitely supervise you. So go and have a chat with her on Thursday. She told me that you're seeing her on Thursday, huh?
Okay.
Yeah. And Johnson, please try to speak to Prof. Ng. I've already dropped him a message, Johnson.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Prof. Ng is a very good supervisor. Don't worry. He's a very serious, quiet kind of person. Very slow and steady, but he's a very good supervisor. So just make sure that. But with Prof. Ng, you need to be proactive. You need to go and look for him. If you don't look for him, he doesn't look for you.
Okay. I'll engage with him.
Okay. Right. Okay. So I think that's all from me for today, actually. If there's no more question, we can just call it a day. If you have any other questions that you want to have a chit chat with me, I can stay back for another half an hour or so. Okay?
Okay, doctor.
Marsha,
Yeah.
Marsha, for your RP, I've spoke to Dr. Leonard now. If you're more
Okay.
into digitalization, let's say you want to do digitalization of project control, and all that, I think maybe Dr. Zamri may be a good person to look into.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Dr. Zabri or Mr. Ron lah, doctor.
Yeah, they're both, I mean, the topic is a little bit related to project management, but I feel like the digitalization bit, if you're comfortable to do the digitalization bit, like you're good with that kind of thing, then it may be better to focus on digitalization, like how you
Yeah.
can capture things on site and then how you're going to put it into a system that can be readable and to use as a control and monitoring tools and all that. That one, I
Yes.
think, Dr. Zamri is a good person. I've seen his work on road,
Oh,
digitalization of road in in road network and all that. So I feel like
okay.
building is only a case study for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can use building as the basis, but the idea is to come up with the digitalization. But you may want to be more focused on digitalization of time or on cost or on quality. Don't go for too big. Don't go for macam like you want to do time cost quality, then you digitalize so many things, you see. So if it's quality, then you focus on QA/QC. If it's time, then you focus on digitalization of work progress, how you can send this information back and create
Yes.
schedule kind of thing. Yeah, so I think
Yeah.
focus on one thing,
Mm.
yeah, on one thing only. Don't go for too big, okay?
Okay. Take note on that, doctor.
Okay, no, all right. So
Okay.
I will see you guys next week. If you don't have anything else, you can leave the group, lah.
Okay, thank you, doctor.
Bye bye.
Thank you, doctor.
Thank you, doctor.
Thank you, doctor.
Thank you, doctor.
Thank you,
Yeah.
doctor.
Thank you, doctor.